Patty Otto was last seen on August 31st, 1976, at her home in Lewiston, Idaho. Her daughter Suzanne is working to finally solve her mother's disappearance. Patty would have been 70 years old on August 4th, 2022. Hey everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey Katie.
Hello.
How's it going?
It is going just fine.
Well,
I
glad to hear it.
have a sleeping basset hound at my feet, and every once in a while she's letting out a little woof because she's sleeping and dreaming. And I nudge her with my foot a little, and then she quiets down. So if you hear a little clatter, that's her.
Well, life at your zoo, right?
Right. And what you gonna do? I mean,
I have a very quiet kitty in here with me. I thought maybe
well,
she'd come and show her face on video, but so far she's just asleep on the other chair in here. Like it's very peaceful for her. She likes to come in
hmm
here with me.
ah,
Guess she's away from the dogs and the other cats. I don't know.
nobody
Pretending
hassling
she's an
her.
only child.
That's right. But a big crime aficionado, maybe. Yeah.
Probably yes. Over there, just quietly listening.
I gotta hear the cases. What are you covering? What's going
Right,
on?
right. Well, this is our Tuesday episode,
Yeah.
and let's kick it off with a crime update from Katie.
You know, when serial killers go to prison, a lot of times they're there for a long time
Well, we sure hope so.
and they have a lot of time on their hands.
Mm,
Some of them make friends and start running their own little criminal enterprise there in prison, but not all. They still have a lot of time on their hands, and a lot of them, if they don't turn to Jesus, they turn to art. Seems to be the case.
mm.
Maybe both. Maybe there's Jesus art out there too from serial killers.
Oh,
I don't
probably.
know. But I found this brilliant article. This is on the
Mm.
IndianaTimes.com. The article is by Tanya Sirowi, and I will link it in our show description. But she published some really interesting art from serial killers. So I thought it would be fun to take a look at a few of them. Fun? I don't know if fun's the right term. Interesting, right? All right.
Possibly terrifying.
And I found these because of the case that we did yesterday about Charles Ng, because he
Yes.
was an artist in prison, and we'll take a look at his art one more time. He is an artist in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he draws some pretty horrifying comics, but he's done some art too that's kind of interesting. But we're not going to start with him. We're actually going to start right here. This is from Alfred Gaynor.
Good
This
God.
is Murder Beach. So I will try to describe these for you that are watching and not listening, but it's a beach scene of sorts. You have a woman laying on a towel or a blanket in a thong, of course, with her back to us.
With
And
some gigantic butt cheeks.
yeah, yes, she's drinking maybe a beer or a soda or something. And he's coming, I called it him. I don't know. It's a man coming up out of the water. He's dressed in a Jason mask. He has on, well, he looks like Jason, actually. And he has a
Mm-hmm.
knife, and he's carrying the dripping head of a man.
That seriously looks like the dripping head of Jesus, but maybe that's just me.
We just keep saying Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gaynor was convicted of raping and killing 9 women.
Jesus.
So there she goes
Said
again.
it again.
All righty. Well, this one is particularly concerning, I think.
Whoa.
This is by Keith Hunter Jesperson. He was the Happy Face Killer.
Oh, yeah.
He murdered 8 women that we know of in the U.S. in the 90s. So this is a woman, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it's a man.
Oh, you're right. There's no breasts.
By the natural anatomy drawn there.
Okay. Oh, yeah, hello, I missed that. Okay, never mind. Uh, he is on a cross, like, dare we say it.
Jesus. Why does that keep coming up? Okay.
What is going on? He's actually looks like beheaded, but the head is on the cross as well as the body. Arms are cut off, legs are cut off, but hung there on hooks with a spike through the calves.
God.
It says, all cut up and nowhere to go. For everybody else, death comes to those who stick around. And then at the bottom, a hand on a pike that says, finger food, anyone?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, damn it.
Gosh. Now you'll probably recognize this ish right here.
Oh, yeah. John Wayne
This, of
Gacy.
course, is a self portrait of John Wayne Gacy.
Scariest clown ever.
Mm-hmm. Hi, I'm Pogo the Clown, says his very creepy badge. He's got balloons. He's got that signature John Wayne Gacy clown face.
Oh,
He's about as good at painting on a clown face on his own face as he is at painting it on a canvas,
yeah, yeah. I don't
which
know
isn't
whoever
good.
thought that was a good clown.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Horrifying.
Now, this right here is a bunch of nonsense. I don't know what this is. I'll tell you who did it. Charles Manson.
Oh, well, I guess that would be why it's a bunch of nonsense. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's sort of a face in there with eyeballs anyway.
I thought it
I
looked
don't
like
know.
a turkey. I don't know.
Kinda, yeah.
I'm not really sure. It's an ink blot of sorts, maybe. I don't know how
Yeah,
to describe it to y'all that aren't watching because I don't know what to say. That's kind of it. It's like an ink blot with what looks like maybe a turkey or a face in it. And, well, it's Charles Manson. So there you go. That's probably
yeah.
all you actually have to know about what
Yikes.
it is.
Yeah.
And then, of course, from our episode yesterday, Charles
Ugh.
Ing. There's two here. There's one, and he's actually a decent artist, but
Mhm.
there is a topless mermaid swimming up and looks like trying to touch the underside of a shark. Then the
A
other
great
picture,
white.
yeah, the other picture is on a ship. Two mermaids hung upside down, bound by their tails. Uh, Maybe one of them is dead. I didn't notice that before, but she actually has blood dripping from her chest. The
Oh,
other
yeah.
one looks like she is attacking the sailor, the pirate, who is also a skeleton. He has a sword in one hand and what looks like a lightsaber or another like flaming sword in the other
Mhm.
over a bunch of dead sharks.
Yeah.
So there you
Yikes.
go. Let's see. Oh, Richard Ramirez,
Oh, boy.
the Night Stalker. He even signed these. Richard Ramirez, Night Stalker.
Oh, God.
Mhm. He, of course, was the serial killer that terrorized California once upon a time.
Mhm.
And the first is like he's not a good artist either, just to clear that
Mm-mm.
up. The first is a skeleton, kind of like a flaming skeleton, maybe. I don't know. What do you think's coming out of its forehead?
Yeah, it looks like flames
Yeah, maybe so. This is
and
like
a
when it
knife,
can.
like, stuck
Yeah.
in its ear, kinda.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was a firecracker. It looks like it has. Oh, yeah, I think you're right. No, it's probably a knife. This is
Kinda.
like when your 7-year-old draws something and you're like, "Oh, honey, it's so describe this to me." Because you don't know.
I like that horse. It's a dog. Oh, yeah, kinda like that. Kinda like
Yeah,
that.
pretty much. The other one of Richard Ramirez is two eyes like slanted, look like the evil eyes you'd see like from
I
cartoons.
I bet they're supposed to be him. That looks kinda like him.
It does look kind of like him. Yeah. With some I don't know, kind of looks like lightning bolts maybe or maybe just lines in his face in between the eyes
Mhm.
and a knife dripping with blood.
Oof.
Ooh, Richard, you're so hardcore. Uh
God. Oh,
Yeah, this is Henry Lee Lucas. Henry Lee
wow.
Lucas is the confession killer. We have never covered him, and we should.
Mhm.
He's said to have murdered between 3 and 3,000 people A clear number has not been established.
Well, because he just confessed to everything. He just
Yeah.
started confessing to every unsolved murder the police could find, and so they
Yeah.
have no idea what he was being
What he really did.
truthful about.
Yeah. So there's also 2 here. He also did a creepy clown, which I'm
Mm.
sorry, Ed, but I think that this one gets the blue ribbon and yours gets, I don't know, the orange one, maybe?
I don't know, but
It's a little better. It's a little better. And then the
mhm.
other one is the face of, I don't know what this is. Maybe like a zombie or a mummy.
Yeah, yeah.
There's green stuff leaking out of one of the eyeballs, fanged or like sharpened teeth. I don't know.
Kinda does look like, I don't know, mummy wrapping or like
Yeah,
a zombie face, yeah.
zombie face. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. All right. And this is some pen work that's actually pretty impressive if it wasn't this damn creepy.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you who this is by. This is Danny Rolling.
Mm,
Danny Rolling is the Gainesville Ripper. He's said
yes.
to have murdered 5 women in a 3-day spree.
God.
This too is 2 pictures. One of them is a man with a dragon behind him, and then there's a topless woman and some kind of like a ghost or a spook, an eyeball. How am I doing? That's about right.
Pretty good, yeah. There's some kinda weird dragon on his head
Yeah,
with wings. I don't know.
with like the
Wow.
planets and stars coming out of his claw. Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the other one is a tree, like a bare tree with a lot of like bare branches that are all curvy and stuff. And there's some animals sleeping on the trees, like some cats, like big cats sleeping on the branches of the trees. And then there's like maybe a male and female lion and lioness in between a topless woman.
Mhm.
That's kind of it.
But it's all real creepy, like
It's real creepy. Yeah. Yeah. Don't think of this in like, gentle terms. It's not.
no, mm-mm.
Mm-mm. And then the last one.
Oh my god.
Hmm. This is Joseph Druce.
Mm,
He's a convicted killer serving back to back life sentences for murdering a gay bus driver and a pedophile priest in 2 separate events.
wow.
Yeah. So the picture, it looks like a
Mhm.
jail cell. Uh, at the top of it, it says "Stop the Evil." And it looks, I'm guessing this is a self portrait. He's standing there holding someone's head that's been cut off. That
Mhm.
person is sitting up against the cell. And along the side of it in red, it says, "Leave the children alone, man."
Wow.
And there you go.
Yikes.
So no one will
Okay.
be sleeping tonight,
That's
but
nightmare fuel right there.
it really is. But I thought it was pretty fascinating. So you can read a little more about them and check out her article in the comments. But again, the original article, I want to make sure I give her credit because this was really good, is by Tanya Sonori.
Yeah, that's really an interesting collection.
There's
Certainly
so much
their
more out there too,
insanity,
but
and their psychopathy is definitely coming out in their art. Whoa.
so much. Yeah. Yep. So there you have it. Well, I'm going to kick the mic over to you for our main case.
Yes. So I want to say thank you to a listener of ours who sent us this case and asked us to cover it right away because we're coming up on an anniversary.
Yes.
So this is the missing persons case of Patricia Otto. Patricia Otto went missing from her home in Lewiston, Idaho on August 31st of 1976. And on August 4th, her daughter, Suzanne, will be holding a walk in her honor and to celebrate what would have been Patricia's 70th birthday.
Wow.
So I'm going to tell you from um, Suzanne's. There's a Facebook page called Patty's Voice, and so I'm just going to use some of Suzanne's words, Patty's daughter,
Hmm.
to explain what happened to Patty or what we think happened to Patty. She says, my mother, Patricia Otto, vanished from our home in Lewiston, Idaho, after an argument with my father, Ralph Otto, on August 31st, 1976. According to my father, she walked out and took nothing with her, leaving her car and my sister and I.
Mm.
Now, one of the things that doesn't make any sense about that, they had been having marital problems, and Patty had left Ralph one other time, and when she left him, she took her children. And then they reconciled. So to think that Patty would just have walked out
Yeah. No.
without them and never come back, total bullshit. Didn't happen. Ralph had her wedding rings in his pocket. Makes you wonder why he had those now, doesn't it? So Ralph was the prime suspect in this situation all along, but they never had any evidence against him to be able to actually charge him. But in October of 1976, he was arrested for trying to hire a hitman to kill the Lewiston police captain who was working on Patty's missing persons case.
What?
That is not the actions of a guilty man at all,
Gosh,
right?
no.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So around the time, a couple of years after Patty went missing, a couple of unidentified female bodies were found in Oregon. So Lewiston is in northern Idaho, and it's just right across the border from Oregon. So, they're not very far from each other. There was a young woman found in Portland, Oregon, on July 28th of 1978. She did fit Patty's description. So then some confusing stuff happened, and I think this is where Suzanne is starting to understand maybe why her mother was never found, or at least never identified. Because we have this female body that was found in Oregon around the Portland area on July 28th of 1978. Then in Finley Creek, which is near Elgin, Oregon, on August 27th of 1978, another female skeletal body was found.
Oh, gosh.
So, let me tell you the weirdest part about that. Do you know who found that body?
Oh, no.
Suzanne's later-to-be father-in-law and his father. Many, many years before she met her husband. Isn't that weird?
That is way weird. Yeah.
So these two bodies were found. The one in Elgin, Oregon, was wearing red polyester pants and a white blouse, which is what Patty was wearing when she went missing. So there was some kind of attempt made to compare dental records of Patty to these two bodies, right? Well, they said that the one in Portland was not her. They also said the one at Finley Creek was not her, but Suzanne has been unable to find any proof that they actually compared her mother's dental records to the body.
Right. There should have been a written report of that.
And there isn't.
There's not.
She's been through all of the documentation, all that stuff. There's no report that actually happened. People said,
well, that's not right.
It was that it did happen, but she's pretty sure that it didn't. So this case really just got forgotten about for decades, literally. And one of the problems is that Patty and her sister, who eventually were adopted by relatives after her dad, attempted the hitman thing, and then ended up in prison for some other related charge, and he died in prison in 1981. So it's been gone a long time.
Of course, yeah.
They were told that their mother walked out and didn't want them anymore.
Well, sure.
They didn't know as little kids that there was actually a missing persons case going on about their mom. Like, they just thought,
Sure.
So as she's gotten older, she and her sister, who has unfortunately also passed away, have done as much of their own investigation as they can, trying to keep this case alive, because, they feel like they have the right to have her identified, to know where she is. I mean, she absolutely believes that her father killed her mother.
Yeah.
So in 1978, there was a detective, Tom Saline, who did absolutely believe that the body from Elgin, Oregon was Patty. But somehow, there was some mix up because there were these two bodies and Patty's dental records,
Mhm.
and the body in Portland was identified as a woman named A. Willits. The Finley Creek Jane Doe has not ever been identified. And Suzanne really does think that this is her mother. And so
Oh,
she
yeah.
is really pushing to work toward finding that out. But unfortunately, in 1990, Oregon closed that unsolved case
Mhm.
and destroyed the evidence, cremated the victim,
Oh, for God's sake.
and did not document anything about her remains. Just had it the body cremated.
Oh, no.
Now, one thing is that woman was pregnant when she was killed. If that
Really?
was Suzanne, no one knew she was pregnant at the time that she went missing.
Oh, somebody maybe did.
Mm-hmm. But about a year ago, Suzanne was scrolling through Facebook and she sees an image that comes up on a missing persons page that looks just like her. And for a minute, she thought it was her. Let me show you
Wow.
this picture. So the
Yeah.
picture to the far left with the wide collar, that is Patty Otto.
Mhm.
The picture in the center here, that is a picture that was drawn based on the skull of the Elgin, Oregon body.
Wow.
The picture on the right is Suzanne.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And that really spurred her to do more research into this and look into this. And, she's been working really hard now to figure out what happened to her mom. But look at that. I mean, that picture could be Suzanne
It could.
easily. And it
Wow.
could also be Patty.
Yep.
But so, this is one of the reasons that she absolutely believes that body in Elgin, Oregon is her mom.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So she is working with police right now because one of the things that happened is when that body was found, they only found parts of the body. Like there were
Ah.
limbs missing, like there'd been predation, and so there were bones and stuff missing.
Mhm.
And her father-in-law, who happens to be the person that found her mother's body, so weird,
Right.
remembers exactly where that happened,
Mhm.
where he was when it happened. He was with his dad at the time.
Yeah.
And so they have actually had a cadaver dog out in that area who has, you know, indicated that there are human remains there
Mhm.
because nobody ever went to look for the rest of the parts of the body.
Mhm.
And so she's working right now with police. There is a Finley Creek Jane Doe, Elgin, Oregon task force working on solving this case. And so she's getting finally some help from the police.
Good.
One of the things that they're trying to do is get the police to go out there and dig for bones because
Mhm.
they need some DNA. And
Yeah.
this body was cremated, unfortunately. Um,
Mm.
there's a lot missing, but there is um, an X-ray of her mother's dental work that she
Mhm.
found in some of her sister's stuff after she passed away. The only actual report on the dental comparison is handwritten, and it doesn't have any photos or x-rays or anything with it.
Mhm.
Lewiston police didn't have an x-ray or anything like that on file.
What?
So
Ugh.
what they're trying to do is they're trying to see if they can find another um,
Sample.
another
Yeah.
sample, basically. Yeah.
Oh, I so hope they can. She
I,
deserves this.
she really does. Absolutely. She's working really hard to try to solve this. She just needs to
Mhm.
know, is this her mother?
Yeah.
Be able to put that to rest.
Mhm.
The coroner's office in Oregon does actually still have the ashes because they didn't have anyone to give them to because the
Mhm.
body is unidentified. So they do have the ashes.
Mhm.
Um, she talks about how no, her father never spoke of her mother. They weren't allowed to talk about her.
No, sure.
Um, he wouldn't let anyone talk about her around the girls. And so they were just led to believe that she had abandoned them all this time. But
Oh.
here's the thing, there had been some history of abuse with Ralph Otto.
Mhm.
Obviously, he was trying to stop the
Yeah,
investigation
yeah.
of her going missing because he
Mhm.
tried. What he did is he tried to hire a hitman who turned out to be an undercover police officer. Now, strangely, because of a
Genius level
weird,
work there, Ralph. Yeah.
right, yeah, because of a weird loophole, he was never actually charged for that,
Wow. So
which
he was
is
arrested but not
done.
charged.
He was arrested but not charged, but then
How did he
later went
die?
to what?
How did he die?
He died in prison in 1981
Yeah.
um, on unrelated charges.
Wow.
So um, this is what Suzanne is working on right now. And somebody, one of our listeners, thank you for sending us this case. Thought it would be
Yeah.
good for us to cover it. They are holding a 70th birthday party for her, and it's a walk, and it is an opportunity to bring attention to this case. It is happening in Lewiston, Idaho on August 4th.
Mhm.
And we just wanted to talk about this case and throw our support
Yeah.
behind Suzanne and the rest of her
Yeah.
family in hopes that working with the officials in Oregon that they can identify this body. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why they think it is her.
Mhm.
It's that saying that the dental work didn't match, but it appears that maybe that got all mixed up because there were two
Mhm.
different bodies being compared to see if they were her. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, this was in 1978 when those comparisons were made. We didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of forensics back then. So
Mhm.
fingers crossed they can find some more of the bones
Mhm.
in Elgin, Oregon, so
But the
that
clothes, the timing, the facial rendering. Mm.
right, it's all there. Sadly, the
Mhm.
clothes were destroyed
Of course.
and the
Yeah.
body cremated, which I don't know why. I mean, they were just bones. Like, why couldn't they keep them? And,
Why couldn't they have kept the clothes in an evidence locker?
right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's tons of questions, but Suzanne is working very hard to just solve her mother's case. She just would like to know what happened to her mom, what was really true, because her dad lied about it so much.
Right. Wait,
They've
did they have a cause of death for the Jane Doe?
no,
Hmm.
but Suzanne was 3 years old at the time, and she says that she remembers the two girls were at their grandma's house. Mom picked them up, came home with them, and then there was a big fight between Ralph and Patty.
Mhm.
Suzanne says she remembers watching her dad pick her mother up by the throat and take her out of the room, and that was the last time she saw her. Now, she was 3 at the time,
Mhm.
but that would be a very traumatic event, and,
Mhm.
she says that she remembers it quite clearly, and so it's
Mhm.
possible if he had strangled her and all they have left are scattered bones, they can't
Right.
tell.
Never know. Yeah.
Yeah, so there is no cause of death. There
Which on
are
the flip
people
side, had he shot her, they may have been able to identify that depending on what they found,
if
you
yeah, if
know?
it went through
But
bone, they could have
yeah.
yeah. Um, there are people who say that he admitted to it to some people, but that was never, you know, verified. The
Yeah.
police don't have all of that. There's so much the police do not have in this
Mhm.
case that's very frustrating. But it does seem as though Suzanne is finally getting some help
Yeah.
and finally getting some support here. And maybe finally we'll be able to close her mother's case.
Yeah. Well, good. All the support and love to Suzanne. I I
Absolutely.
expect to hear this case is solved.
I do too. I do too. I really think they're going to find a bone. They're going to be able to compare the DNA to Suzanne and to
Mm-hmm.
know that that is, in fact, Patty.
Mm-hmm.
And they have her ashes. So maybe Patty could at least have the ashes of her mother and know where she was. Will they ever be able to prove who killed her for sure? Probably not.
No.
But it does seem pretty obvious, too, though.
Mm-hmm. This whole thing seems like it's exactly what it looks like.
It does. It does seem like it's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
So lots of love to Suzanne's family
Yeah.
and Suzanne herself and everyone that's helping in this situation. And we just want to, throw our support behind it and hope that the resolution comes quickly now for Suzanne.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have one segment left, and I hear it is some WTF news from Katie.
Mm-hmm. Well, I figured this episode was going to be fairly heavy, so I thought I'd lead us out of the episode with something a little bit lighter. Though it
Huh?
is a murder, so we'll try and be, cognizant of that and aware of it.
Sure.
But this is one of those things you cannot make up.
Wow.
This is a murder that happened in September 2010. It was a wife who murdered her husband
Mm.
along with what looks to be her lover. Her name was or is Miranda. His name, oh gosh, is Ronald Heichel. None of that is funny. Miranda said she wanted her husband killed because she said he abused her. Police say it was actually life insurance proceeds.
Okay.
There was a gag order in the case early on because the prosecutor did not want any parties speaking publicly about this case. Well, we wonder why. Well, it might be, maybe, because it's going to really stick in people's heads.
Oh.
See, Miranda's last name is Boob. That's right, Boob. Yep.
Okay.
Miranda Boob, who's a boob, and Ronald Heichel, of course, were arrested initially. But
Mm-hmm.
then they discovered there was a getaway driver. And he got
Mm.
arrested too, and this is the headline that ran: Butts arrested in Boob murder case.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh yeah. His name, the getaway driver's name, is Kermit Butts.
That's terrible. Oh my
It's bad
God.
enough to give your kid the last name of Butts, but you had to name him Kermit too.
Right. Like
Poor Kermit
that
never
guy's
stood a
parents
chance
really
in
hated
this
him.
life. Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. So that was the talk of the town for quite some time, was the Heichel Boob Butts incident. Here they are, in case you're wondering. They are human people with real faces, but
My
uh,
God.
unfortunately, they had children who ended up with no parents because
Oh.
Miranda went to prison and so did Heichel for life. However, there's been no real updates in the news about Butts, so we're not really sure where old Kermit Butts is now, but
God.
we do know at least the boob went to prison.
Well, I mean, silver lining.
Truth.
What the hell?
Yep.
The truth
Here's
is
what's
stranger than
crazy.
fiction.
When I was researching this case, because I saw it in an off-handed article, so I had to do a little more work to, get it all squared away.
Mm-hmm.
I found two other boob crimes that kind of blew my mind. One in which a woman in uh, Washington, she and her husband filmed a sexual encounter, and she suffocated him to death with her boobs. And he was begging for his life, and she just kept on going and filmed the whole thing.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So she got charged. And then another case where a man made his breastfeeding wife breakfast, a bowl of cereal, and put enough heroin in there to kill her, which it did.
Oh,
And the police
God.
were able to prove it through samples of breast milk because she was full of heroin. Her family said, she's a breastfeeding mother. She doesn't do drugs. The person who does drugs in this house is this asshole. They were able to get breast milk out of the freezer that had been pumped within a day or two of her death to prove that there was no heroin in her system. In fact, none of the breast milk had heroin in it that was in the freezer, just her,
Oh, God.
because her husband killed her that way.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So who knew?
I'm
One
falling
boob
down a
search
real
and
boob hole
now.
here.
Yep. I felt like a boob today looking at all this stuff. Yep. Yep.
Wow.
So, Kermit Butts, wherever you are, I hope you're okay. And to the rest of you, I think I think Miranda and Ronald probably deserve the shock belt.
I think they do, yes.
From
Most
yesterday's episode. Yeah,
definitely.
for
Good
sure.
Lord.
So there you have it. That's what I've got.
Well, thank you, I guess.
That's granted. Yeah, I can see it.
This is our Tuesday episode. We will be back on Wednesday with another great episode, and Wednesday night for our Case Updates live stream. And of course, the Psychic Hour, which is now a part of our YouTube subscription. You can sign up for that super easy on our homepage, on the YouTube homepage of True Crime Squad, or become a patron. Go check us out over on Patreon, and you will be able to access the Psychic Hour over there, plus somewhere around 200 episodes of bonus content that we've done over the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
Check that out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And you know it. We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Take care.